Hello, how are you? Sciatic pain is one of the worst pains people can feel. That pain that starts in the lower back, goes down the leg, and can even reach the foot. Some people feel as if everything is on fire, and many people don't know, but there can be mechanical causes, like a herniated disc itself and muscle tension. But there's a vitamin that, when you're deficient in it, can make this pain worse. It can increase the pain, delay recovery, and keep the nerve inflamed for longer. I'm going to tell you which vitamin this is and also talk about other complementary vitamins that can help you prevent or improve this pain. You're going to love this video, so stay until the end. You won't want to miss it. Before we start, I want to ask you if you've ever felt sciatic pain, what you did about it, what your treatment was. I'd love to see your comment. What was your pain level? From 0 to 10, with 10 being the worst pain you have ever felt. Where did your pain fall on that scale? Because they say it's a pain that's pretty close to a 10, right? I've never felt it myself, but they say it's terrible. Tell me, what was that pain like for you? I'd love to see your comment. And if you can, go ahead and like the video. That really helps me out here on the channel because it shows YouTube that you support the channel and trust my content. When we think about the sciatic nerve, about back pain, we really think of a terrible pain. And we tend to think more about these mechanical causes, like I told you, right? Like issues with a herniated disc and muscle tension. But there's a vitamin that's closely related. Scientific studies have been showing its very important role, especially this first one I'm going to tell you about, in relation to the sciatic nerve, okay? And the first vitamin that really stands out is vitamin D. Vitamin D has been studied a lot recently. It's one of the most important vitamins for those who have sciatic pain, and it's not just for the bones, as we might infer, as we might think. It acts in hundreds of anti-inflammatory and neuromuscular processes. Recently published studies show that people with vitamin D deficiency feel more pain. Lower back pain, more sensitivity, and a slower recovery after episodes of sciatic nerve pain. That's because the intervertebral discs and nerves have vitamin D receptors. Look how interesting, that regulate this regeneration process and the inflammatory response itself. So, when there's a lack of vitamin D, when you have a vitamin D deficiency, your body produces more inflammatory cytokines, the disc between the vertebrae loses some of its resistance, and your nerves become more sensitive to pain. The good news that has been reported and verified by the scientific community is that proper supplementation and replenishment can lead to improvement, but only if you actually have a vitamin D deficiency. So, the most important thing is that before you start supplementing vitamin D on your own, never do that. You should first check your vitamin D levels with a blood test. You need to go to the doctor, get a blood test ordered, and check what your vitamin D levels are. I have a video here where I talk more about ideal levels, supplementation, and everything else. I'll leave that video down below. It's very complete and up to date. I'll leave it for you down below in the description. Go to the doctor, get the test done. What are the vitamin D levels? Do I need to supplement or not? Do it with medical supervision so you can repeat the test after a certain interval. Safe dosages always vary, right? Usually it's from 1,000 to 4,000 IU per day, but ideally you should always be monitored by a doctor because in more severe cases, when there's a real deficiency, you might need higher doses for short periods of time. We should never take high doses of vitamin D supplements on our own without medical supervision because high doses can intoxicate the body. Vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin, meaning it gets stored in fat cells. So when you take it without medical or nutritional supervision, without measuring it, depending on how much is stored in your body, it can cause kidney problems, heart problems. It's not a joke. So yes, it can help you as long as you have medical supervision. There are still 2 more nutrients that can help you. One of them is magnesium, which is a natural relaxant for our body. Magnesium is responsible for more than 300 reactions. It is a cofactor in more than 300 biochemical reactions in our body, including muscle relaxation, energy production, ATP, right? So, when we're lacking magnesium, our muscles become more tense, more rigid, and more prone to contracting. That is why a magnesium deficiency in your body can cause the sciatic nerve to become even more compressed. That's the correlation. It's not that it acts directly on the sciatic nerve, but when you have that very noticeable muscle contraction, it puts more pressure on the sciatic nerve and can make the pain worse. Besides that, it enhances the action of vitamin D, helping with the absorption and activation of this vitamin in the body. So as a complement, it can help, right? That's really interesting. Remember, if you want, you can supplement or not, if necessary, with 300 to 400 milligrams per day. There's also a video here talking about the best sources of magnesium and actually the best forms of bioavailable magnesium for you, according to your needs. I'll leave that video here for you. Also, remember that almonds, Brazil nuts, dark chocolate, walnuts, pumpkin seeds, which are wonderful, sunflower seeds, dark leafy greens, and beans are all great sources of magnesium for you to include in your diet. And speaking of vitamin D, egg yolk is one of the few foods that is naturally rich in vitamin D. And fatty deep sea fish, cod liver oil, which nobody wants to eat, are also good natural sources of vitamin D. Another vitamin worth checking when you have recurring issues with your sciatic nerve is vitamin B12 because it's essential for the nervous system. It forms the myelin sheath, which is that layer that protects and covers the neurons that is related to the transmission of nerve impulses. It helps make nerve impulses more efficient, including those of the sciatic nerve. So, without it, the brain's electrical nerve impulses from the brain to the legs will become slower and more disorganized, causing symptoms like tingling, burning, and neuropathic pain. Studies show that a B12 deficiency increases neuropathic pain and slows down nerve regeneration. So, this deficiency is more common in vegans because they don't consume the sources, in the elderly, in people with chronic gastritis, and in those who take omeprazole, esomeprazole, these proton pump inhibitor medications constantly. And nowadays, the best way to supplement is with methylcobalamin, which is the most bioavailable form for you to absorb vitamin B12. But remember that liver, meat in general, eggs, fish, and dairy products are good sources of B12. It's worth checking if your body is able to absorb B12 properly. This is another point, especially in the case of the elderly. And for people with gastric problems, that's another issue, and that's why it's worth it. You should always get tested and see a doctor to find out why you were deficient, because sometimes you're supplementing and still not able to absorb it properly. And in that case, there are injectable options as well. But that's why you should see a doctor or a nutritionist to check if that's necessary. These 3 nutrients, if you need them and supplement properly, can really help improve your sciatic pain. Tell me, did you already know about this? That there is a connection between micronutrients and sciatic pain? When you had sciatic pain, what helped you the most to improve that pain? Have you ever used any micronutrient to help with that pain? Which one helped you? I would love to see your comment. Remember to like the video and share it with someone who will enjoy it, with someone who needs it. Let's work together to spread this chain of good. That's what I want with the channel. See you next time. Bye.